It was always a dream that I felt like was unobtainable, but it ended up happening.
Hi, my name is Feng, and my job is anime.
My name is Feng. I'm a producer in animation. I've worked in the American side of animation for 18 years, Japan 7. I moved to Japan like last year, and now I'm working with a bunch of different studios. My main job is to bring work from overseas to Japan. I would have an American clientele that's interested in working with a Japanese animation studio, and then I would bring said project over to the studio, and it's up to them to decide whether or not they want to make it. And if it does, then I do the client facing, and I also help produce the project. I was over at Warner Brothers, and I was working on a project called Thundercats, and that was my first experience of collaborating with a Japanese animation studio. Also on top of that, I used to go to Japan every single year before social media and before travel influencers were kind of like telling people to come. I secretly was going every year, and from that point I started building up my network. There was one time I didn't have any work, and so I decided to go to Japan for an internship. And they were kind of like, why do you want to come to Japan? You're like a production manager / producer already. So I was just like, I just want to learn. I just want to shadow. And so they were like, okay. I remember when I first showed up, they were like, we kind of don't know what to do with you. But for 3 to 4 months, I ended up kind of just shadowing a production. My 3 to 4 months were done. And they were like, do you want to have a job working for us? And so from that point on, I went back to America with a job, trying to talk to other studios, try to talk to American clients, and trying to bring work into Japan. I'm a little bit of a special case. I'm on an intra-company transfer visa. Because I own my own company back in the States, I was able to transfer myself over to Japan. So I opened a branch in Japan, or just an office, and I transfer myself over to that office. It was totally legal. Yeah, I think it's a loophole though. Yeah, but it's totally legal. Yeah. My level of Japanese, I think my friend said it best, and it was articulated caveman. Because I actually don't know what my level is. Like, I never took the JLPT. It's weird. Like, I can say like, I understand what the word shiso is, right? Which is like an ideology or the way you approach things, right? But for the longest time, I didn't know the word dance, odori. So I think a lot of it is context and how you guide and navigate the conversation. A lot of people come here thinking like, with all the years that they learn from Japanese classes back home, you think you know, but you don't. The best is to actually just come here and take the Japanese classes. Yeah, but then also at the same time, if you're working in animation, that's a whole different set of languages. So my recommendation is actually to go online and look for all the different vocabulary that requires you to be in the animation industry here. I love living here. I think it's great. I get national health insurance. I know this is very boring, but getting the ward to like tell you like, hey, you have to go get a health checkup because we got to make sure you're healthy. I'm like, this is amazing, right? Public transportation, there's always good food. I'm always walking around. It's a complete opposite of what it was like when I was living in LA, right? Like the kind of like the seikatsu, the lifestyle. I like to go to sentos and onsens. I go once a week, sometimes 2 to 3 times a week. Another thing is drinking coffee. I really like the craft coffee culture here. I love to drink coffee. I love to talk to people that make coffee, and it feels good hanging out and just like relaxing and chilling and taking in the moment. Yeah. Maybe it's also another thing coming from LA where it's like everybody's kind of they want something, right? There's like a motive to be somewhere. I feel like here it's a little bit different, where people that are doing what they're doing is because they have a passion for it. If I'm in Koenji and like I go to El Pato, I know that Kiyoshi is like making the best American food that he can make. Or if I go to like Light Up Coffee in Kichijoji, like that's some of the best coffee that they can make. Here it seems like you do a job and you do it because you love it. And I think that's what drives me to be over here, rather than, you know, making six-digit figures. Like I come here and I just want to make animation. I think if you want to work here, you have to adapt into the Japanese culture, right? The Japanese work culture. And I notice it's raining. But I think the big thing here is to be able to read the atmosphere, like kuki yo no KY. Like in America, we're very direct with each other. But here it's, if you can't read the atmosphere, you're gonna have a hard time. A message to anybody that wants to come here is come here, work, like try to go after it, but do it in a smart way. Don't come without connections. Like you wanna, I think, really wanna do your research and really like plant your network here before you wanna come over. I've seen a lot of people come over and it's like, I'm an animator, I wanna get in. And then I was like, okay, so what's your plan? And they don't have one, you know? And I think it's, for me, it was a little bit like that, but I already have a network. I was already working for a Japanese animation studio. So the question was, how do I stay here? Because I think the big question is how do you stay here? Like it requires you to have a visa. It's not just like, oh, well, a studio will hire me. You also have to consider, you have to be empathetic to what the studio needs to do too, which is like get you a visa, find you a lawyer, or whatever that might be. If anything, it's like come, but come in a smart way. Don't just come thinking someone's gonna hire you. Giri giri.